What was it specifically that drove you to entrepreneurship? What did you feel that entrepreneurship was going to give you or allow you to have or what have you, right?
Mhm.
What was that draw that you weren't getting everywhere else when you realized it?
I think what I can realize now, and I realize it very clearly, and what would be hard for me to go back to a large corporation or government at this point is the freedom, the flexibility, just being able to dynamically plan what I'm going to do, plan how I'm going to do it. Talk to someone like meetings you and I have had where this is a really great resource. You should consider using it. Go on the website, investigate it, maybe even start using it early next week. Versus in a large organization, we'll have a meeting about it next month and then we'll put it on the agenda and then we'll see if we can get budgeting for it for next quarter. And that's the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. Somewhat from a business angle, but much more related to when that's impacting the lives of people, right? When we're not helping people as much as we could be, or you're putting that off in the meantime where they're not able to thrive, or bad things could actually happen if we wait too long.
It's nice to be able to just make the moves that you decide are right for you, moment to moment, day to day, week to week, and really be guided by the whole principle of, is this making an impact?
Yeah.
And if it is, being able to be free to make those decisions to say, okay, then this is something that I'm going to do. I'm going to get involved in. And I love the fact that I don't need anyone's permission to do it.
Absolutely. But what I would add though, on the other side of the coin, with all of that great freedom and rewards, and great freedom comes great responsibility. With great rewards comes great risk. As much as, yes, I'd rather be on this side of it, I think it's important to make that other part of it clear to someone. Because sometimes, especially again, I go back to media, the way, especially maybe within America, that we look at entrepreneurship and we make it a very cool, sexy, exciting thing. And it is in a lot of ways, but there's also a lot of just day to day business things that we still have to do. And that's the point I'll make clear to a lot of people is that there's certain aspects of my business that come naturally to me and that I love. And that if I went and worked for a company, that's the role I would be in. I might work for the HR department or for marketing, but I probably would never get a job in finance and accounting. But
Yes.
now that I've started my own business, I have to know about that. And I have to make sure I'm at least good enough at it of collecting my records and or also hiring someone that can assist me in these areas that are my weaknesses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the key. I really believe that some people are wired for entrepreneurship and it's inevitable. Like it's an inevitable part of their journey and a place that they're going to get to because they're just wired that way. There are many other people that are not. That it's just not, it just doesn't speak to their strengths. It doesn't speak to what lights them up because there are a lot of risks involved with it. And yeah, it's not for everybody. It's really not. It's really not. Identify with your core strengths. If it's something that you're passionate about, have the self awareness, dig deeper, understand exactly what's involved with it, figure out what pieces resonate with you and don't resonate with you, and don't settle. Don't make decisions and career choices about your professional path or even your path as an entrepreneur without being aligned to it. Do the work. Get aligned to what it is that you really want and make it happen. You've had some pivots and some turns professionally in your career. And if you would, I'd like to, considering that you're particularly considering that you're a career counselor, right? That helps people in their
Yes.
careers, helps them professionally and personally. And you have your own business now, right? Didn't always, but you do now. Tell us more about those turns and pivots and what you've learned along the way. What steered you from where you were into what you're doing now?
Sure, absolutely. Taking it all the way back to high school, I think myself and a lot of people that I know lacked some of that self awareness, that growth after we left high school, as far as should I go to college? Why should I go to college? Which college? What am I going to study when I get there? And I'll be honest, I was one of the many, and that my candidates still say when I work with them that I'm just going to go to college because it's the right thing to do and I'm going to figure it out when I get there. So when I was in college, I did public administration. I wanted to help people make the best I can of individuals and communities and things like this. So while I was in school, in classrooms and reading a book and just taking tests, the idea of working for the public sector and the government seemed good. And that seemed like the way to do that. But when you get out of college and you have that transition from the academic world to the real world, the application side of the theory, I started to see the reality and I wasn't going to be able to effectively deliver the services that I wanted to as much as possible. So that's when I had a heart to heart moment and kind of talked to people in my life, friends, family, other business owners I knew. And the advice I got a lot was get an MBA, you get a master's degree, get an advanced degree, and then also maybe for now, leave behind the public sector, go to the private sector. So after I got the MBA, I worked for a global telecommunications type company. I got to travel to Argentina and Germany, and they made the products in China. So I lived over there for a while and went to the factory. Very cool experience, but that's where I also learned that life lesson that we hear a lot, that money doesn't make you happy, or a certain kind of job and a certain position isn't going to be everything if it's not who you are and what you really want to do. So loved the job and a lot of aspects of it, but again, this isn't as personally meaningful as I'd like, and I want to come back to my local community. And so that's when I went back to school, previously having little self-awareness when I got my bachelor's degree in public administration, talking to people all external outside of who I am to get the MBA. And then when I came back was the first time that I probably took a deep breath and just got to know myself and think about who am I? What do I want to do with my life personally, professionally? And that's when it came to me to do counseling. Did the counseling degree and worked in a couple of different settings before I started my private practice. There's three major factors that I see every day with career counseling, and I have since I started doing this, are we guide our initial career decisions and are influenced based on family, the media, and trends and hot jobs and statistics. For example, one of the things I was doing at the college was they had a forensic science program. And a lot of the students were dropping out in the very first semester because they had watched CSI or Dexter or seen these things or similar experience I imagine might happen if somebody goes into law school based on Law and Order, but a TV show and things like that. So it's that interesting relationship where the media can educate us and inspire us to look into certain things. But like I said, that where we sometimes run into a disconnect between academia and theory and reality and what the career really is. One other experience before I started my business was I also worked for about a year and a half in the Florida juvenile justice system. So a program that was teenage, adolescent males. And the reason why that's the last stop before I started my own business was that's where I look back on everything and say, there's way too many people that are going through all of these pains and problems. That idea of if you can find somebody and help them with what they want to do, if you help somebody thrive and be the best person they can be and succeed, then we can circumvent and eliminate some problems, hopefully before they ever happen.
Wow, so interesting. Some people who know me and know my history know this about me. Others may not. A lot of people listening probably don't know this. I started out in social work. I was a caseworker for troubled kids in Western New York. And I ran a girls group home, a boys group home, and a non-secure detention facility. I made a shift too. Right. I made a shift into what I'm doing now with Thriverz, and it's been a whole evolution and a whole journey as well. But part of the shift, I couldn't keep working with the young kids. I got burnout, especially when I had my own children. A big trigger for me was how can we make an impact so that these things don't happen? How can we get to the point in the timeline prior to this to actually have an impact so that it doesn't happen instead of trying to remediate things afterwards?
Absolutely. Yeah. And ultimately, why I left that position was not the youth. the teenagers there had some of the best creativity and critical thinking skills. They were just using it in probably not the best ways,
Yeah.
but potential, so much potential that could be used. I left that job, two reasons. Was that we experienced a great deal of problems and a lack of funding from the public sector. And then the final reason why I left was the recidivism rate of people just getting locked right back up.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I saw that oftentimes too with the kids that I worked with. Sometimes you're the only light that they've ever seen, and basically their entire memory. They don't have anything else. They don't have anybody else.
When I used to dress kind of nicely there sometimes, or if I had to have a business meeting the same day I was working with them and I'd wear a suit and a tie, some of the youth would say, "You're wearing your church clothes." The only place they'd ever seen somebody dress nicely before in their lives was a very special day at church or a funeral.
Mhm.
So that they didn't have any context being a professional. It makes total sense when you've never seen that. You've never seen the potential to be something bigger and better. So that's where I felt like I needed to make a bigger difference with my own business rather than being part of the system.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the reasons that's drawn me to adults is because I know that if I can help the parents thrive more fully in their life, if they can pick a path that's more aligned to what they're here to do, and they can be inspired and motivated and educated and given the tools, properly equipped to do that thing that it is that they're here to do, yeah, then hopefully it'll have an impact out to families and to communities. Imagine a world if we were all really living our purpose and really fully thriving. What
Absolutely.
what that would
And
look like. We can only envision what we can see in our mind, right? If we didn't know that doctors existed, would people really be able to set that out as a career path, right? Which is really a crazy example because everybody knows doctors exist, but there's a lot of career paths now in professions and things that people can do, even owning your own business, right? Like my dad's an entrepreneur through and through, owned two businesses. My grandfather, on both sides of my family, there's entrepreneurship. It's what I lived my whole entire life. It's the only thing that I know. I know I didn't grow up in a corporate family. It was an entrepreneurial household and an entrepreneurial family on all sides. And so that's what I know. Some people don't if they don't ever get exposed to that, the first thing they think about isn't, "Oh, I can own my own business. I can do my own thing,
sure,
freelance, I can," and that option isn't even presented to people.
I never thought I was going to start my own business. I didn't have a lot of entrepreneurship in family or things growing up. And even when I was studying counseling, the last degree, I never thought of it. And then I think what happened for me, it was just an accumulation of all those experiences. And I finally just got pushed over the edge. So I guess that the interesting part is some people might get molded and having that family influence. And okay, I know back in my mind, this is something I can do versus when you just get pushed away from other things and into something you never envisioned.
So between your undergraduate degree that you listened to everybody else about, right? And didn't tune into you, wasn't self-aware enough. And then when you made your next pivot away from that into MBA, it was also a result of listening to other people around you instead of tuning into you.
Yes.
Yeah. So to shortcut for people, right? The sooner
And
you tune into you, the better off you'll be, and you'll save a lot of time and a lot of money in education. I know I've got a lot of graduate school under my belt as well as 2 bachelor's degrees, so I know how expensive education is. You've got a lot of time and a lot of dollars invested into those letters after your name. Though I have to admit, I believe there are no accidents. Our journeys shape our story, and every experience that we have is just better equipping us to do what we're really here to do. I firmly believe that. I know that your experience that you've had with your different pivots, with the 3 different degrees and the different experience is so that you're that much better equipped to help people make better choices for themselves and tune in earlier. So I love
I
that it
agree. And that's a personal journey I went through that I see in others. If when you feel like I'm wasting time, I'm wasting energy and money, I absolutely agree with you. And that's a long journey I went through to figure out to go from a place of negativity and I should have done this better. I wasted my time to, oh no, now this actually is a strength and a unique asset. And I'm happy that it's made me who I am today.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad that you're there because my journey is very similar, and I will be the first to say my evolution is still unfolding. I don't have it all figured out, and if my future is anything like what my past has been, there will be more evolutions of me and professionally what I'm doing and all of that moving forward. I just know it. All there to equip us, but to have that
Absolutely.
realization is phenomenal. And thank you. I think everything that you've shared there is really going to help people listening. If they are feeling like they're a little stuck and they're stuck, they're stalled, they're not really sure, they're feeling pulled to go in a different direction.
I think it's important to help you do some self discovery, but then also tying it back into action planning and goal setting. And now that I've discovered this thing that I'm really excited about, how do I actually accomplish that and get to be who I want to be? I think that is a place where sometimes there can be a weakness within some of the helpers out there is that thanks for making me feel really great and getting me on cloud nine or the top of this mountain. But I have no idea what to do with that now or where to go from here or how to climb back down this scary mountain.
Yeah, because you have to understand what your purpose is and your passions are and your strengths are. And you have to channel it. If you really want to thrive, you need to make those activities manifest in your life. And what better way to make them manifest in your life than to do them through the work that you choose to do, considering we spend what, 80% of our time,
Absolutely. Yeah.
80% of our time working. And particularly entrepreneurs, we tend to spend even more hours than a lot of
Definitely.
other people in our businesses. So you might as well enjoy what you're doing.
The clients that pain me the most when I work with them and I feel so bad are the very experienced professional that can describe and say, I've sat on the highway, busy rush hour kind of highway, and I've just sat in traffic every morning and known I'm going to a job I don't want to go to, I have no passion for. And then also just the commute and the feeling you're doing something you don't want to do, and then also putting in a lot of hours that take you away from the personal side of your life, family, and just personal development, hobbies. Doing something you want to do. And yes, are any of us thrilled and jumping out of bed and it just as happy as can be every day we go to work? Probably not.
No.
As much as we can do that as highly as possible rather than feeling like I'm dragging and I'm going and thank God for Friday or I can't
Mm.
wait till this week is over versus that drive mentality of, man, I'm excited about this job and what did we accomplish this week? And can't wait to see you Monday so we can keep on working on that, which I don't think that's idealistic. I think that is possible.
I believe it is possible too. I really do. And part of my mission on this planet is to try to get as many other people as possible to believe that it's possible too, right? Because when you can see it as a possibility, then you can actually strive towards it. You can work towards it. If you think, "Oh, it's never going to happen," that's not for me. Enjoy my work? What the heck is that? If you don't see it as a possibility, you're gonna stay stuck. You're not gonna make any shift to try to make it happen. So I think that the awareness and the being open to the possibility of something better and something greater is always the best place to start.
And seeing the potential for being the best person you can be professionally and what you can accomplish. So
Yeah.
self-awareness and discovery is a huge piece of it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where people should start, really. There's 2 more questions that I wanna ask you. The first question is, and we've talked a lot about thriving. What does being successful and fully thriving, what does that mean to you?
I think for me, it really encompasses all areas of your life. So, what I think I've lived through my experiences and I've seen in people I work with is you can't really truly thrive if you're doing really well in one area, but you've either not addressed other areas of your life or you've had to sacrifice them to what you think is thriving in one area. Because inevitably, I've seen that just doesn't ever work out long term or maybe even short term. Really identifying the personal side and the professional. As much as we can align your values and who you are, who you want to be with, what you're doing professionally.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I love your take on that. And now the last question I have for you. If you were given the opportunity to only say one thing to help people be more successful and more fully thrive, if it was just one thing you could say to have a positive impact on someone's life, what would you say?
That's a good question. That's a big question.
Yeah.
I think what I would say, discover your personal purpose and develop your professional potential. That's the important thing.
Very nice. I love that. That's it for now. Thanks for being here. And if you enjoyed this, please be kind and do subscribe so we can reach more beautiful people like you. If you want to go farther faster on your Thriverz journey, be sure to check out Thriverz.com. It's full of resources and hundreds of expert catalysts ready to get you where you want to go. If you're a catalyst yourself that's in the business of helping people thrive, join us as an expert and elevate your impact. Until next time, remember, you deserve to thrive. Take care.